context of some research in Trinity College, substantially in the area of behaviour change. I'll discuss various things, give you a bit of context to where I am. I'll talk about the research, some of the factors it's identifying that might be of use to people who wish to drive sustainable behaviour change. And there's a list of some of those there: actors, drivers, norms, effective communication, things you might be used to. So some of the work experience that gives me a background to be able to comment on behaviour change are a number of European projects and national projects which impact behaviour change. One of them, Energy Neighbourhoods 1, impacting 600 communities in Europe. It's Sequel Energy Neighbourhoods 2, impacting 900, so 1,500 communities. And then basically embedding behaviour change in context, in culture, between countries. And across various sectors in Ireland also. Key to this is measurement. And you can see on the left here some of our material resource flow analysis. We're looking at what comes into and what goes out of the community, the waste, the water, food, energy, and the travel consequences of living in a community. And you can see on the left bottom a particular community with a certain blue area. That's the size of its use of materials. And on the right, after a 4-year intervention on behaviour change, you can see how we changed it by 28%. This work has been produced now for 95 communities in Ireland, so we have a lot of material flow for communities across scales. And then some of the work, also some deep interventions in Bird Hill, in other areas, I suppose, across various parts of Ireland. So here is a slide which depicts why behaviour change is important. You can see all the types of intervention, technological and otherwise here. You can see your internal rate of your IRR on the right, your percentage, your efficiency of emissions reduction on the horizontal axis. And you can see how behaviour change is top right. It's no accident. Those who focus on behaviour change, well, they get the best out of their technological changes. Those who don't get the best out of the technological changes. We have large retrofits going on in Europe at the moment, going on across the globe, retrofits of insulation in communities and businesses, and people aren't thinking about the people who use the insulation, who use the technologies. And if there's a technological only fix, we have a huge gap between behaviour. So this is where the behaviour change work comes in. Basically in those homes, people are turning up the thermostats and enjoying the consequences of their investment. They're not keeping the thermostat at a set position and saving money. And that's across the board. If you do a large enough analysis, people are enjoying the consequences by turning it up. So what do? It's about behaviour change and plugging people into technology. Again, behaviour change is by far and above one of the best interventions in business, and nationally, regionally, locally. So back to the EPA research, we're looking at sustainable transition in communities, all types of community, whether they're communities of intent like an eco-village, whether they're communities in a workplace like a business community, whether they're in a local authority, or whether they're on a street. So those, any type of community, and what as you see in the list there's all kinds of applications, but we have 108 drivers that we need to categorise. Some of the complexities just to hit you with first before we go into this. Perception is a huge, it's a difficulty. As I describe something to you, I might see a 6. And as you describe it to me, or somebody might see a 9. You very much in behaviour change have to fill the boots of the people you're changing the behaviour of, your subjects. You very much must step outside your own boots. It's not enough to be a technologist, it's not enough to be a policy expert, it's not enough to be an academic. You must see life from the other person's perspective. That's what that slide's about. Okay, the two tables. Who says the table on the left is the longest? Who says that this table is the longest? That's the question. Who says that the other table is the longest? Could you raise your hands if you think that the table on the right is the longest? On your left, sorry, on your left. Raise your hands. Okay, that's virtually everybody in the room. In actual fact, the two tables are the same length. And every time I put that slide up in a presentation, I have to measure them. Even though I know and I'm wired to know that this slide is telling a lie, I still have to check it. So we have to be aware that when we work with people, on people as such, and with people, that we must impact them. We must look to teamwork. Teamwork is key because individually our own perception is askew. What colour is the cube, is the square on the top of this slide? Anyone has it a guess? Anybody has it? Brown, thank you, sir. And what colour is the cube down below? Brown. Anyone else? Are the two cubes the same colour? Yellow. Anyone else for yellow? There's a good few hands. In actual fact, this gentleman is right. Both cubes are the same. When I take away the other colours, they're the same colour. So a lot of research is being done on this, specifically some of it especially by Danny Arelli. And he showed that our intuition fools us every time. So this is the complexity of working irrespective of behaviour change, but I just mention it because we really need to check with teamwork around us what we do before I go into behaviour change stuff. So, and his work shows that our visual, our financial, and our cognitive interpretations are askew. They are wrong. And who could doubt that with the financial recession that we've been plummeting through? Here you can see another complexity really in terms of those behaviours and that irrationality of our behaviour. We all think we're so rational. I don't doubt it, but many researchers do. And you can see in the first year of an intervention here, there's a 95% kind of confidence interval. So most of the consumption in the community fell in this range. Most of the consumption here fell in this range. In year 2, it fell within this range. So there was a narrowing of the gap around the average. Down to here, and now admittedly, this is household energy use in the community over 4 years, apologies. There's a 36% reduction from the average here to the average here, but you'll also see a narrowing of the behaviour over the 4 years. So, again, this irrationality and the huge diversity of behaviour that exists, and woe be it an academic or a technologist that goes into a community and presumes it can just produce a result with a magic pill. Again, the importance of behaviour change. So faced with runaway climate change, on resource depletion and all sorts of things going on around us, this research has importance. It's gone through the academic research, it's gone through various all academic journals, and I've been reviewing this for 15 years. So this is the culmination, funded by the EPA, of research I've been involved in for a long time now. Looking at grassroots activities and what moves it, what's the transition, and what causes the behaviour change as well on an individual scale. Have I still 5 minutes? So basically we've got this huge ungainly bag of 108 factors, and how to categorise them. And a simple enough one for this presentation at least is one of the categories could be actors, and you can see various actors across the globe who impact behaviour change and sustainable transition. There might be religious groups. One particular group in the UK have reduced energy consumption locally by 36%, a faith group. You have energy and environmental champions, you have project managed local authority, higher education institutions, non-profit organ, all the sorts of actors that you'd normally be aware of in your own work. 17 of the 108. And now 39 of the 108 are specifically drivers, or processes that those actors induce. So those activities that those actors are inducing. And here we have things like measurement, key. As I showed you with one of the first slides, the community reduced its consumption by 28% across from the large blue area to the smaller blue area. You have feedback. Feedback is really important for all kinds of reasons, and some of them psychological. Social capital, participation and ownership, normative considerations, and we go on. Effective communication is important, and commitment again is important. Again, there are 17 actors, 39 drivers, and the remaining factors of the 108 are based in effective communication. And three broad categories there could be contextual, messaging, and communication. So you must understand the context of the person, the subject in the behaviour change experiment. If you're working with somebody and you want to change their behaviour, either in business, local authority, regional, nationally, locally, you must understand their context. You must, as the 6-9 diagram showed you initially, you must understand what it's like to stand in their boots. Messaging factors are important. They should be potent. So things like kilowatt hours. We've saved 1,000 kilowatt hours of energy in this household, and we've saved 2,000 in that household. That wouldn't really matter to people. Kilowatt hours are not a tangible metric. We need to, as technologists and academics, think about the measurements we use. And that's just one of the messaging factors. And communication channels, there's a whole load of those. So you can understand here some of the drivers of change and the impact we have. Here you can see an early Stone Age building made out of mammoth tusks. The impact of humans, whether positive or negative, on sustainability. Here's one on norms. I have 5 minutes. Here's one. So I ask each of you to leave this room with me in an experiment, just individually. Just imagine that. I go up to you and I say, please come over to this other room. And in that other room there are 4 people. And I ask and you sit down with the 4 people, and I ask each of you which line is the same length as X. Who would say line A? Who would say line C? Who would say line B? Okay, that's probably 100% of. So 99% of people tested said as you did here, and B is indeed the same length as line A, as line X. If I change it slightly and do the same experiment again, I take you and I bring you to the room with 4 other people, but I get them first to tell me their answer, and I skew the answer because I tell them to tell the group that it was C. So when you arrive at the group, the first person says, line C is the same length as line X. The second person says the same thing, and you're like, what? It's obviously line B. You know, you're scratching your head, that's what you do. The third person says line C, and the fourth, with some assurity, line C. How many people in the room would change their mind? How many? Nobody. So none of you would, but in tests, 75% of you will change your minds. And that is the impact of norms, and across audiences and places. I give this presentation where I use those 4 slides, or a few slides together, with grassroots campaigns and communities in local authority and across business. Nobody uses norms in behaviour change. The impact norms could have is massive. You set up a norm, we're all behaving in this way, fair play to you. Ash said, the researcher, and this is it's over 50 years old, this research, that reasonably intelligent and well-meaning people are willing to call white black is a matter of concern. I would say great concern. Cialdini and Goldstein and others have brought this research further recently. You'll go into the hotel and it will tell you, have a shower, throw your towel down, and you're saving the planet. Not a great message. It does produce some savings, but hoteliers, and for anyone here who's a hotelier, come talk to me afterwards and we'll save you at least 25% more washing. Or read Cialdini and Goldstein's research and build up some sort of decent, effective communication in your hotel, and you will absolutely have your guests save way more towels, 25% more towels. It's as simple as that. Here we have, again, this is back to measurement and the meaningful message and something that's tangible. So if there's any utility companies here, anyone who sends out bills, trying to reduce energy use, because that is your, there are various directives that are demanding you do that now, year on year. Here we have a control, and here's what happens if you use numbers. So you're using 1,000 kilowatt hours lower than everyone else in the community, bully who. This is what will happen. If you use an ambient cue on that bill of a smiley face and of someone who's increased their energy, of a sad face, you have a significant saving. And if you read the vertical axis, this is the mean daily change. Imagine what we could do over a week or a month or a year. If we just took some of the learnings that are based in research. I have 1 minute. So commitment is important as well as another one of the factors we've identified. When individuals agree to a small request, it often alters the way they see themselves. Perception, I mentioned, was flawed and so important, but you psychologically change. You rev up another notch. You change towards more sustainable behaviour if you commit. Sign a charter. I commit to 5% changes in energy, whatever that is. Effective communication, of course, is important. Here's a slide that just casts a small bit of humour on it, but effective communication is something that 52 of the 108 factors show that we really need to get the message right. So just to sum up, when working with groups in business across local authority and communities, leadership is essential right through the chain. A vision is critical, a vision right through, so that we have an overall vision owned by everybody in the chain, not just management. An environmental champion, very important, and Brian McNamee was given a presentation earlier from Consultico about training up environmental champions and energy teams. You should give it a look on the schedule. Very impressive. WIT now are nearly ready to issue certificates on the basis of these qualifications. Social capital, identity norms, as I mentioned, measurement, commitment, distributive justice, capacity. There's a range of factors which we're about to unleash in a report in March, and hopefully they'll be of some use to people. So overall, this type of transition behaviour change is complex, layered and nuanced. We have a lot of findings coming out in March. Anyone who would like to see them, I'm Vincent.Carragher, it's just my name with a dot in it, Vincent.Carragher@tcd.ie, or if you prefer, VincentCarragher@gmail.com, no dots, just VincentCarragher@gmail.com, and I'll forward you the report and the learning, and you really can make changes. A lot of the communities we've worked with and groups have 50% savings, one at 65%, but regularly across the board. Like in the European project where we had 1,500 communities, and I said the cosmetic enough lightweight intervention, we produced savings of 10% in nations, in regions. And if governments were doing that year on year, we'd be in a completely different place. Thank you very much.